Alright, so I just had quite the session. 1 hour session plus 5,600 over 146 hands. I started the recording slightly too late, so probably only like 20 minutes in, or actually like 10 minutes in. So I pulled up the two hands worthy of note on Hold'em Manager that were over a couple of blinds. The other hands are not worth mentioning, but so I'm gonna have two replays, and then after that, I've got the video for in real time. So this is the first hand that's got the session really started. Actually, replay's not good. Okay, so we call an open from under the gun. We're on the button with ace queen 10 6 suited to the ace. He c-bets. We flop top two. We call. We turn three pair. He pots, and we shove over with three pair. He calls with the hand we expect him to have. Better than the hand we expect him to have, actually. He's got the full fucking montage wrap here. Ace, king, jack, 9 with clubs, nut clubs. King, jack, 9, the full wrap. The full wrap with clubs. I actually ran the equities, and I was 51% favorite, so barely squeaked out the plus EV play on the turn there versus his exact holding. Now, obviously, if he had slightly worse, like just one less of those cards, maybe just less the ace, then my equity would be a little bit better. But he had the freaking primo, so we ran good there on the river to boat up. So that's the first hand. Then this hand is the only other hand that I didn't record. So let's see. Drake Ramore, who's a very good reg, opens hijack. We call button. Oh, sorry, we 3-bet button with the ace, jack, 7, 8, double suited. He 4-bets us, and me and him have very rich history. We just play a lot of hands together, and he 3-bets a lot, so I have to 4-bet him with hands that aren't just aces, and like a lot of different combos of double suited ace X hands. So he's starting to do the same to me, even though his 3-bet is 10.3 and mine's a little bit lower than that. So we're going back and forth, me and this guy. Anyways, he 4-bets me. We obviously call. Flop the low end straight, the second nuts. He shoves. We call. He has the ace king 10-5 double suit for the turn nuts, and we get out turn there. Obviously, we were way ahead on the flop. What a nice hand. All right, so now after that, I could just play the video. And I don't think I'll comment, but so on the top left we have the $600 high roller here, which we try and play every day when we can. Super soft 600 tournament. I mean, usually gets around 45 players, and like just ultra soft. Like playing this is so plus EV. I can't believe, like, you'll see the way I bust this later. You'll see exactly what I mean. But here, so let's go down the action. On the top right table, we missed a little bit of action before I got the video started to record, but I opened button small blind 3-bets. We obviously call. He checks over the ace high flop, which is very strange on as a 3-better. But I don't really have a lot of a betting range on the ace high texture when I'm not the 3-better. And without an ace in my hand, I'm choosing to check trap the 10s. I think that's perfectly fine, especially with the queen jack. There's not really any bad turn cards for us. So I check back, and we can play the rest in real time. And from here on out, I'm going to play the videos. Here on the turn, he checks again, and obviously we're betting. Now we are capped, so we go with the half pot. He sticks it in, and we gladly oblige. Got the 2 pair with the jack 9 open-ended, so he had a pretty good hand too. Much just a cooler. Here we squeeze the king jack 6-8 double suit. On the top left table, we cash games. Bet in 1/3 with trips. And that's the tournament table.
Already played some massive pots. 3-4 massive pots.
Decide to check over the king jack 6-8. Not really good enough without a diamond or diamonds to bet. Having an 8 is nice. I mean, this is close to a bet, but I decide to check and go from there. And with this sizing, this is like a really, I don't know, pretty greedy sizing. I think I just fold without any diamonds in our hand. It's not fun though. Top left table, get some action with their trips. Man, this session is incredible. Like, you're just excited to show this quality hour of pure PLO content. Obviously double barreling the ace queen, top left tournament. Get a nice river here with the ace queen. Here we open small blind with the king queen jack 9, get queen high, c-bet. And he calls the top left, he snap calls, and the hand he calls with this is absolutely incredible. Like, you're gonna see what I mean by like how soft these tournaments are. And this guy's chip leading. Called with 10-10-9-6, so he has just tens with clubs on the turn, obviously. So that's why he called turn. But tens on calling the river, that's incredible. So here in the bottom left, we c-bet, and now we're checking over the top two without any straight blockers. He bets a sizing where I think it's pretty clear he doesn't have a straight because he should be potting here. That being said, I think we're just going to go ahead and let him bluff away. And we river the nuts. That's pretty sweet. Check it over to him because I'm pretty sure he's bluffing on the turn with the sizing. So, plus yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure he's bluffing on the turn. So, we have a leading range here, but when we're pretty certain he's bluffing, we're just gonna go and check over. Check shove and easy peasy. Easy when you have nuts. Interesting that he has a tank here. Like, what? He's just I don't understand what hand he could be really tanking with. Like, yeah, that one kind of interesting hand. Trust me when I say there's very little downtime in this video, so that I don't need to fast forward or anything. You just yeah, well, there'll be a hand coming up shortly. Alright, looks like we got some folds, so I'm going to fast forward here just 30 seconds. I know the top right looks pretty interesting, but I don't believe anything happens on that hand. But the bottom left, we have something does happen on this hand. So we defend the suited ace 3-9-5. Get a decent flop with mid pair and flush draw. Turn to pair. Go ahead and lead the pot. Get a call, and then we've river the nuts. But we snap check. Check trap in the nuts here. as the board texture changes, and I bet pot on the turn. It's a pretty good hand with which to check trap. And he obliges with the bet. And he has the second nuts. Got him. Here on the top right, we open Drake Moore defends. Nothing crazy happens in this pot. Looks like we checked out, I'm pretty sure. We can choose to bluff the river, but this guy calls every single bluff catcher that he ever has versus me because I've bluffed him so much. Well, I've failed to bluff him so much. So I'm like really cutting back on bluffing him because he just calls with every single bluff catcher versus me correctly because he's been getting the best of my bluffs, and so I have to like be very limited with my bluffs, be very selective. I mean. Here with the Queen Jack Jack 3 bottom left, we defended big blind, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. I go ahead and lead this turn when he doesn't see bet. And we've got obviously a pretty good hand. This can hand and go either as a check call or a bet with the open-ended plus the jacks. There's so much equity. Top right, we continue bet. C-bet here with the rundown that whiffed, and we check full turn. Okay, so we got called with the jacks, and we have a pretty clear showdown hand now, I think. Take that one down with the jacks. He had ace 10 8 5, so he had ace 10 with. He had a hand with he should not go with. He had ace 10 with no other draw. Okay, fast forward 30 seconds here. I don't remember what happens with these kings. I don't remember that hand. Ah, yeah, now I remember. Defend the big and fold to a double barrel here with the kings. We crushing over here. Pretty decent flop, wrapping the 9 here, having the backdoor flush draw with the jack 10 7 8. This guy leads pot, so we just have a simple fold there. If we had double backdoor or flush draw, we would actually call. It's actually an interesting hand that plays out here. So he leads the pot and then he fires pot again here 3 ways. This guy provens ace ace. Drake Moray puts it in on the turn. And interesting, so Drake has the 2 6s for the blockers, but only with a pair of 6s. The other guy had 2 pair with 7, 8. He turned 2 pair. So the other guy led second pair with a few back doors and turned 2 pair and potted without having a straight blocker in his hand. And Drake put it in with only the straight blockers, and somehow Brovin's got it in good. That was a pretty interesting hand. Drake, of course, runs like God and ended up rivering the counterfeit on the river. So that was a pretty interesting hand. In the bottom left, we just get back-to-back double-suited aces. What? Yeah. Trust me, we're gonna run far better than just getting back-to-back double-suited aces in this session. We get 3-bet 2, just the dream. Just basically get it in. $62 behind. So yeah, let's see what he's got. He's got the king and the 6, so he outflopped us. But then obviously we've got the huge wrap plus aces. He was never winning that pot. Let's be real. All right, so here at the bottom right, interesting hand. We opened up the 10s. We get 3-way flop. And on the top left, we're actually gonna have an interesting hand too. So pay attention to both of those. Top left, we defend big. So bottom right, Drake Ramori goes ahead and leads the straight board for half pot. We call the top set. Top left, we have an open-ended straight draw, ace high back to flush draw. We turn the lowest straight possible. Bottom right, we have the top set. Drake is repping the straight. We obviously call again. Top left, we go ahead and call because we have the ace and the 9 in our hand. So we're blocking ace queen, which is what he's repping, and just in case he has queen 9, we're blocking that too. Here with the Drake hand, without a jack or a 9 in my hand, I think this is a pretty clear fold. Top left, he ended up checking back, and we win with the 7-9. He had the queen jacks for a queen blocker, one queen blocker. Seems like an okay decision there. We would do full set of 10s. Now here in the top right, very interesting. We open the cutoff, button defends. We have a low flop that is favoring nobody. Well, favoring me because I got the more overpairs than him, but he goes out and bets, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. He doesn't have a 3-5 in his range, really. Hardly any sets, if any. So we go ahead and defend the queen, 7-9 with the backdoor straight draw, and we turn the best card in the deck. We have the open-ended with the overpair. I think that obviously we have a clear call, and I'm not very certain, but certain enough that this guy is like pretty full of shit here, because this does not hit his range. Happy with the river, probably snap calling a bet, but he checks back and gives up. He had the queen at 10-8 jack for the turn. Top pair flop, no draw, no outs, nothing on the flop. Complete brick on the flop, and he turned the top pair and went with the pot on the turn. Here in the bottom right, very interesting spot also. Well, this one's just the dream spot. We flop, we defend, and flop a boat. Easy peasy. Bottom left, open the aces on the button, get an okay flop. Not great, not awful. We do decide to c-bet this one with a gut shot in the backdoor diamonds. Check raise the boat on the bottom right. Still have nuts. Two sides we can use here on the bottom right. We can go with the all-in, or we can go with the quarter pot. I decide to go with the quarter pot. I know, life's easy when you have the nuts. Oh, interesting hand on the top right. We open the button with the King King 510. Uh, decide to c-bet with the 10 in our hand. No diamonds, so I don't love the c-bet. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I should c-bet. And on the turn here, same decision. Still teetering between pot or check. Very close. If I had an 8, I would go with the pot, but given that it's just a 10, I think a check is fine. And looking to call some rivers. That is not a great river. But we block 2 pair, river 2 pair. He bets the river with the 3rd pot, so he's giving his bluffs very good price. You know, I really thought that I would have the best hand a lot of the turn. The river changes not much when he doesn't. Yeah, I think, you know, it's obviously we just have a bluff catcher. But we went ahead and called. Bottom right, very interesting spot. We open the button. We got 3-bet by the same guy, Chris Banshee, and from the small blind. And he does not c-bet. Hold on, I'm just going to rewind because this pot is actually very interesting. Bottom right. All right. Okay, so top right, we ended up calling correctly. He had just a 9, a naked 9 with diamonds. So top right, we called and won the pot with kings. Okay, so bottom right, we open button. We got 3-bet by Mr. Cursed Banshee. Defend the 3-bet. Get a subpar ace jack 9 flop. We got the double gutter. Pretty clear check back with the king 10 4 7. Bad turn. We're pretty much done with this hand. Up until he decides to check again. Okay, well, we are still in check mode. We're happy to see a river. On the river, he bets. Now here, here we're blocking ace king. Let me just pause this here because this is an interesting spot. So we're blocking his river improves. He has not bet the flop or the turn, basically saying he does not have an ace in his hand. For not betting flop, he would be betting flop with almost all of his aces, especially in a 3-bet pot. So on the river, he's kind of saying he has what exactly? Like, I mean, ace kings that he didn't see bet the flop. Okay, sure, but I have a king blocker, a flush. He would have bet the flop or turn. So this, to me, when he's got a pretty high frequency 3-bet. To me, this looks like some kind of other rundown that pretty much whiffed this flop altogether. Maybe something like 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. So we make a pretty. We look this guy up with quite a weak hand. Having the 10 of diamonds is also nice. And he's got the queen, queen, jack 8 with the queen of diamonds. So seems like a hand he should have c-bet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he just we just called correctly there and owned him up right there. That was a fun one. Okay. Here, bottom right table, we make a loose call. I actually hate this. Is probably the hand I dislike the most of this entire session. The fact that I call that hand there in the cutoff. I feel like it should be just a straight fold. Especially against Draker Mori, who's a very good reg. Bottom left table, we defend the 9-7-8-4, get a pretty favorable flop with 2 pair plus a straight blocker and an open-ended. He checks back, and this has just our name all over it. Here, okay, let's rewind for a second. Okay, so here at the top right table, we have that interesting dynamic, I guess it's not a dynamic, just situation where the button is the big blind because of people sitting out and leaving the game. So that's, yeah, so the positions are all out of whack. But we open the ace king jack 3. For some reason the button is acting first because it's weird, it's a positional fuck up. So he's acting first, he checked to me, the pre-flop raiser. I bet with the ace of diamonds, king jack 3. Yeah, this is actually a very good hand. Alright, so we bet the ace king jack 3. Turn the nuts. Cool. He bets into us for the 3/4. Interesting. Without any kind of redraw because I don't have any 2-pair or any flush draw. This is a pretty clear flat. With the deuce of diamonds, it brings in very interesting situation when we have the turn nuts and the ace of diamond blocker. So he, yeah, this is the hand. This is quite a hand. He gives us the pot business on the river. Yeah. So I'm thinking his hand looks a lot like. So based on the turn sizing and the whole situation, I really feel like he's got king 9 of diamonds in his hand. So he bet the turn with the second nut straight plus diamonds, and now he's potting the river because he's made it king high flush. That's just what it looks like to me. Obviously, it could be a jack high flush or a queen high, a jack high or 10 high flush or something. So interesting spot, right? Because we have a safe call because we have Broadway, but I think this just plays better as a pot in case he's going for the value with the king high flush. So we're gonna stick it to him and see what he's gonna do. Yeah, very interesting hand there. Bottom left table, nothing interesting happened. Get a fold.
Let's go beach.
Get the fold, and you know that was an interesting pot that I would really love to see what he had, but I think I know. Now here in the bottom left, we've got this guy who just sat his heads up, and this is just like the dream situation because this guy's a nobody. We defend the ace jack deuce deuce versus button open. We turned top 2. Cool. We're gonna go ahead and call that one. And with this half pot sizing, we kind of laugh because it doesn't really make any sense. And lo and behold, he's got the bluff that doesn't make any sense. Here on the top table. Stop, you gotta bring anyone up. Okay. Here in the top middle table, we open, we flop 2 pair. Here, bottom left, we get 3-bet by him, and we defend the 10-4-5-6 tri-suit. Top middle table, we turn even top or 2 pair. Top 3 pair. When he checks to us in the 3-bet pot and bottom left, I mean, we're just bet getting in here with second pair, plus gut shot, plus flush draw. And he's got us crushed with the aces of and spades, but we run good and get there. Top left table. This is the tournament table, which these guys are friggin' idiots. We squeeze the single suited aces, and top middle table we have an interesting hand coming up too. We open the jack deuce 3-5 double suit. We flop very well with open-ended plus bottom pair plus jack high flush draw, but he leads pot. Okay, it seems fine. We continue because we flop well. Here, bottom left, we open the 6-6, 10-7, get 3-bet by him again. He's reloaded to 100 blinds. Cool. Flop top set. I know, I'm running amazing, I know. Okay, top middle table. Interesting spot. Well, and top left. Let's talk about top left first, tournament table. So we squeezed and we got 4-bet by the Luckster, okay? We're all like 150 deep. Now this guy who's got all the chips, he cold called the 47 blind 4-bet, and I have 150 blinds, I believe. So obviously we shove in the top left. So not that important anymore. Top middle's a very interesting spot. We turn the top and bottom with the open-ended straight draw and a jack high flush draw. Now he has bet pot and pot again, leading us to believe he's got a 9 like a 9 of some sort, plus obviously plus something else, or he's got jack 9 blocking the jack. This is a pretty good hand, definitely a hand to get it in with on the turn, especially with the open-ended straight draw. However, during the time, I actually just made a mistake. I'm gonna end up going top left. We just shoved the 142 blinds in this tournament. So I make a mistake and call here. I think that a shove is in order, and I made a mistake and called. Bottom left table. So he's 3-bet us and we flop top set. He's betting a board he should not bet because he's just a fish. I think I do go ahead and raise the top set. Top left, we ended up getting. Look at this hand. Look at what hand this guy 4-bet, open under the gun, and then 4-bet with the ace jack, deuce 4, rainbow. Okay, that's what I'm telling. This tournament, the 630 high roller pillow. Actually, I shouldn't be telling anybody this. But this freaking tournament is the nuts. I mean, this guy 4-bet the ace deuce jack 4. Then this guy over here, you can't see his 4th card, but he's got all the chips in the whole tournament. Okay, he's got 800 blinds now after he wins the spot off us. He has the queen 6 10. The last card is a 10 single suit. Okay, he calls the under the gun open, which is already a little bit light. Cold calls the 4-bet, and then freaking gets in 140 blinds with that hand, and but now he's got all the chips. I mean, just crazy, right? Look at this hand. Look at these hands. This is amazing. But you know, we can't run pure everywhere all the time, so we're out of that one. Okay, back to the bottom left. I do go ahead and raise this top set. Top middle hand. We get the worst river in the deck with the jack deuce 3-5. We have some showdown with the jack. Obviously, we're hating the river because he has a lot of 9x in his hand. But we take our showdown with a check and hope that he was bluffing with some kind of 5-6 or ace of spades shit. Just pause right there. Alright, so he shows up with the queen 9-5-6. So we had the 5-6 with spades. Obviously, in retrospect, I wish we did get it on the turn because I'm a very heavy favorite with the 2-pair straight draw that blocks some of his outs and the higher spade draw. So, you know, small mistake, get a bad river. What can you do? Bottom left table, he ended up folding when I raised the top set. I know, we're just running amazing top set again. We defend the ace, queen, queen, 9 heads up, and flop top set. Now this guy, I've already raised him. I've literally raised him 3 times in 3-bet pots, so great spot with the top set, as I feel like this guy's tilted as F. Give him the check raise. And we have a spastastic 4-bet, 3-bet. He's got the jack with the lower wrap, 8, 9, 10. So I mean, it seems like a hand. You should just call my raise, but he got it in. So you know, I mean, he had an okay hand. It's fine. Bottom, top right. We defend the queen jack 5-6. Flop the low end straight. Goes check check. Turn pairs. We decide to check over again. Decide to check again with the low end straight plus the queen jack redraw, which comes through for a higher straight. We go ahead and value bet the queen high straight. And get called by worse. Looks like he called with ace, ace, queen, 8, so an 8 blocker plus aces. Top middle table, we opened ace, queen, jack 10. We are going to c-bet this flop. Top right table, we 3-bet the king, queen, 8, 9 double suit. Top left table now, we get the okay turn card, giving us a rundown plus hearts. Great hand. Top right table, we get 4-bet. Call happily. Bottom table, we open button, get called by the big blind, and we are going to c-bet this board. Top right table, we flop very well in this 4-bet pot with top pair plus the queen 9 gut shot, the 8, 9 gut shot, the double, the single backdoor heart draw, and top pair. So needless to say, in a 4-bet pot, we will be getting that hand in. Top left table, this guy's whale, by the way. Purple's my whale color. We get hit with the pop button. Have an easy call with our hand on the top left. Top right, I'm just deciding whether to check or to check shove. So check. Bottom table, we c-bet and turn the nuts. Top right table, we do go ahead and check shove. Top left table, we have a pretty clear fold. Unlucky river card. Would have been nice to hit one of our many, many outs. Go through with the check shove plan. Probably gonna see aces. Ace, ace, 4, 6. Alright. Run pure with the gut shot coming through. One of the gut shots coming through on the river. But the equity's got to be really close in that hand. I mean, it might be a small favorite. I've got yeah, I'd have to run it, but it's got to be really close. Alright, moving on. Bottom table, we don't have the nuts anymore. Jack 8 is the new nuts. We don't have a Jack or an 8 in my hand. This is close to a value bet, but I think that checking is best. Yeah, especially when 8-9 was the open ended on the flop. So you can have an 8 in his hand a lot of the time. He does have an 8. He did not have a straight. He happened to have 2 pair. So we win the hand with the straight, but I think this is definitely a check on the river. This still would be way too thin to bet this hand. Okay, top left table, interesting spot. I'm going to rewind it up a little bit here. Top left table, we open the ace, jack, jack 6. Big blind defends. We have a very cool hand here. Okay, the 10, 7, 8 rainbow. Jack 9 is the nuts. We have 2 jacks. I think this is a clear C bet. I think, hold on, let me see if I can pull up that last hand real quick. 1 minute here. It looks like the recording is over. Okay, yeah, we just got 2 more hands and then we're done. Okay, so let's finish this hand. Okay, so we see bet the jacks. We get check raised by the big blind. Now, all of a sudden these jacks become quite the good bluff catcher, don't they? Because very unlikely that he has jack 9. He's only raising with jack 9. He's chosen a very small sizing. I think it's pretty clear he has a 9 or pocket 9s, and he is bluffing us. So now we have a great bluff catcher, so I call. Turn, brick. Look at the sizing he chooses here. He goes with the slightly over half pot. Instead of shoving, I think it is like 100% bluff only on this turn. Definitely bluffing. So the only decision is whether to hero call down or to put it in here and get him to fold his 9x. Do we think he'll fold 9x? Probably not, because he'd be very priced in. So I think we just call and let him bluff off again. So we call. River is a very favorable deuce for me, because in the event that we were wrong this whole time and he had a hand like, I don't know, 9, 10, 10, wait, no, 9, 10, 10 wouldn't beat me, but 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 7, whatever, this is a good river. So he puts it in, we snap it, and we see, oh no, he's river to deuce. So on the flop, he does have the queen 9 for the bluffer, turned to deuce, and rivered another deuce. So we were correct this entire hand and just got an unlucky river. So, you know, what can you do? That was a cool hand, though, I thought. Okay, I got one more hand here. This is, yeah, nothing. Alright, we defend the big blind with great hand. We check shove this board with top 2 plus open-ended. He gets it in. And he just had the diamonds, the bad diamonds. Yeah, that was not. I think that's it. Alright, yeah, let's see. Choose this one. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll just, this is the last little bluff. We just defend the big blind multi 3 ways. We lead the 5 blocker pocket nines, and we go for the river bluff that gets through. That's it. So that was like a 1 hour session, max 146 hands, $5,600 running just pure. This is what happens when you run pure in Omaha. Now most of these games are played at 3, 6, and 5-10. Most of these hands. So yeah, that's a lot of buy-ins at 3-6. What a session! That was it was a lot of fun. I encourage you to run good for an hour in Omaha and see where that gets you. All right, I'm ending this video now.